Today I'm going to discuss the qualified electrical worker process that's implemented within the company by which I'm employed. I work in the natural gas industry, and the supply chain is comprised as follows. There are upstream companies that pull gas out of the ground, midstream companies that process the gas, and downstream companies that deliver gas to customers. The company by which I am employed is a transmission pipeline and exists between midstream and downstream segments, and the value chain is comprised of three different components, among others, but we'll focus on these three. Operations, which are the revenue generating activities and performed by technicians, learning development, and training, which is where I fall in. Operations performs many of the electrical tasks that are needed in order to keep this business afloat. And because of that, there is a process in place that's needed to comply with regulatory measures. From left to right, you can see that this process includes formal electrical training, 70E training, on-the-job training, a written assessment that's administered and proctored by training specialists, and then evaluations to verify proficiency. The learning development team are the ones that wrote and released this process, and upon implementation, it was discovered that the written assessment was not yet in place, which created a bottleneck. As individuals became qualified on prerequisite tasks, they ended up waiting at the written assessment, which is one of the 7 deadly wastes that was identified by Toyota. In addition, there were policy addendums that were required to be made, which ended up being rework, another deadly sin identified by Toyota. Looking at root cause analysis, I was able to come up with 3 whys. The first, why was there a bottleneck in the first place? Well, the newly implemented policy was set out without the tools in place to comply, which leads to the second, why were the tools not in place? Well, policymakers had not communicated effectively with key stakeholders and hadn't realized that that exam was not in place, which led to the third why the breakdown in communication. And it turns out that there were cross-functional conflicts between departments, which created a silo mentality where each department was acting in their own best interest. Long-term solutions to improve lean operations include having a Kaizen or continuous improvement event where all stakeholders gather together and discuss how the process can be improved, with an objective of, if a change is made, how will the rest of the process be affected? In addition, we want to implement cross-functional teams, which can lead to better decisions that are more quickly implemented, and ultimately a total quality management, where if you do things right the first time, then rework will not have to be done and the quality will be maintained throughout. I appreciate your time and good luck in the rest of your program. Thanks.